Dementia 5. This is going to be just a brief sidebar. I'm calling this frequencies versus frequencies. So, given my age, there's many things that I remember. And one of the things that I remember hearing that other people might want to ponder is that there's many types of healing that comes working with frequencies. And they're exploring that quite a bit with neural pathways. So, on the flip side of that, they've also researched that frequency. I'm going to give you several examples just so you can just sort of mull this over. So, if you were in a generation where they had commercials, they changed radically. They became more and more frequent, and then it is becoming something of a loop. Is that not what dementia is? I was thinking that I don't like the term dementia. Demented, or versions of that word. I think we're having breaks in breaking down because of what our audibly we're experiencing. And then I'm not going to get into a lot of stuff about 5G. So I use the example of the frequency that has come over the years with commercialism. It's audible. Let's talk about the next generation. The next generation experienced audible frequencies that they knew were affecting people, just subliminals. Again, we're not going to let anybody not research this or call any of it conspiracy. This is all part of what the brain is changing, adapting to. So let's just refer this as decades of adaptation. Along with the commercials, along with audible things that have changed. That includes music, in the frequency in music, the subliminals. Okay, another type of frequency. As I mentioned, I'm just simply referring to different waves, wavelengths, sine waves, 5G, whatever you want to call a toxic environment, if that is something that you're looking at, is affecting our brainwaves, our patterns. We can see that things I'm just going to tell you that I'm not going to validate what I'm going to say because I've already done that, and it's about a 30-year-old question I proposed. I once worked with a couple that was having mini strokes, and we lived in a mountainous area. And so when we had a renowned person come and do a seminar, I had a chance to pull him aside, and I said, this is what I've been journaling, my observations, and I have some questions. And he validated what I was saying. When we were in the mountains, we get a lot of ground strike lightning, and it carried with it a freon, or it carried with it whatever that is energetically in it. And it would trigger, and weather systems can trigger mini strokes. So I will add into that there are conditions other than what we ingest and what is around us in nature affecting our brains as healthy people. So of course it's affecting people that are fragile and they're in decline. So hopefully we'll be getting some more research about that. We're not talking about reversals. Maybe at this point we're just understanding the if there are strengths and weaknesses, and how maybe there's a balance in that can be found and aided. And the reason why I wanted to add this particular conversation into this series that I'm doing is because these are thoughts and preparations. And as we see medical staff dealing with different generations, along with those generations and the deterioration, which is what life is we're all in decline. Some people say from the day you're born, you're in decline. But each generation is dealing with such different technology, such different chemicals being given to them and treated with, or even experimented with, whether they've been part of an experiment of a medication or whether they've ingested things experimentally. We haven't even really done a deep dive on what does dementia look like coupled with PTSD. What does dementia look like in a person that is has addictions? I did briefly in the very first intro discuss dementia, the personality of the person before the decline. Narcissism is a certain aspect. What about the person that always worked a third shift? You know, they're inclined towards being an evening person. There's so many things that we could individualize, personalize, and hopefully put some quality into that person's last stages. And then again, it's not always going to be a phase, a stage that you can put to it a general length for that stage. Like I said, there's other different things that are debilitated maybe in the person, which is going to change that length. Maybe it inhibits it. You know, maybe if your mind is free flowing like that, it inhibits other processes in the body. Maybe it takes the stress away, depending on the person, if they no longer recollect that they're dealing with a very substantial illness, disease, and we don't want everything to be addressed so that it's in a way that the body doesn't express itself naturally, even with the flow of emotion. Maybe dementia needs to also address blocked energy, blocked emotions. So I'm just putting that out there for people that really have empathy for persons that have dementia, and that they're not just wanting to eradicate dementia, but they're looking to 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 have a quality given to that person, um, that hopefully they could sustain that for them, whether they had it before they became into the facility or not, whether they had a family surrounding them or not. Um, I've often thought that for persons with dementia, they're like a puzzle with a piece missing, and or several pieces missing, but maybe one of the pieces is a form of pacification. So what was the person's coping mechanism that pacified them, but in a healthy way, that it was self-nurturing and self-loving? If we can find a part of that person's reminiscing, or just whatever was integral in, maybe that needs to be maintained. There's just so many things that people could address and maybe have addressed. So again, I pray for everybody that's going through this with whomever they are, feeling strongly about, uh, even if they're just in the medical field. And I pray over you and I bless you daily for the circumstances and the things that you are wanting to do the best you can for another human being. I commend you. Thank you.